Everything old is new again. America's entertainment pop culture talk show.
It may well possess a rudimentary intelligence.
I'm trying to think, but nothing happens.
Felt a great disturbance in the force.
Hello, I'm Mr. Red.
Come on, bark like a dog for me.
Where's the goodies?
Leave the gun. Take the cannoli.
I bet you wouldn't have done anything like this if Mom and Dad were here.
You filthy criminal.
Excuse me while I whip this out.
Go ahead. Make my day.
Here are your hosts, Douglas Viviani and David Cohen.
You want to be the manager of the baseball team?
Yes.
You know the guys' names?
Well, I should.
Well, you tell me the guys' names on the baseball team.
Say, who's on first? What's on second? I don't know who's on third.
You ain't saying nothing to me yet. Go ahead and tell me.
I'm telling him.
You ain't
Look,
said nothing yet. Go ahead and tell me.
who's on first? What's on second? I don't know is on third.
You know the guys' names on the baseball team?
Yes.
Well, go ahead. Who's on first?
Yes.
I mean the guy's name.
Who?
The guy playing first.
Who?
The guy playing first base.
Who?
The guy on first base.
Who is on first?
What are you asking me for? I don't know.
Welcome to Everything Old is New again with our buddies Abbott and Costello. You think? Let's back up before I ask the question. I'm here with the Say Hey Kid himself, young David Cohen.
Hello, Douglas.
Do you think if Abbott and Costello were around when we are doing this show, or if we were around back then, either way, they would appear on Everything Old is New again, or would they be too intimidated?
In a heartbeat, they would be on the show. Because they'd see what great guys we are and how we can promote their careers.
Exactly. Not how we would be promoted by them. We wouldn't want to go that. Yeah.
No.
So we're still trying to use them a little bit in their, of course, heyday there. It was, of course, Who's on First.
Hey, I think to this day, that is the single greatest comedic routine of all time.
I agree, and it's about baseball.
Right.
And that, back in the day, and that was the 1940s, that was, and 30s, that was the time when baseball was America's pastime, by far.
Believe it or not.
Yes. And now we've seen like Game 7 of 2017 World Series between the Astros and the Dodgers. So the TV ratings, and that's the Dodgers, fall 30% from the year before Cubs and Indians. And I know Cubs first time in 100 years.
And the Indians first time in
That's
almost
true.
100 years.
Right. That's very true.
But still,
America, I don't know, the public believes even with the downturn of ratings in the NFL that they feel, the general public, I believe, feel that football has replaced baseball as America's pastime.
I think that it's been that way for a long time.
Yeah.
Sadly for baseball fans like you and I.
On the other hand...
Like you and me.
There you
Sorry,
go.
I want to use proper English.
Correct. We don't want to get into the Abbott Costello routine about that. On the other hand, baseball attendance figures have remained stable at approximately 73 million people visiting the ballpark since 2004. What I mean by that is every year since that was the peak of ratings, or I'm not saying ratings, people attendance I should say,
right.
From 2004 to now has been consistent. It's not gone down. So people are still going at record, are going to call them record numbers, or as high numbers as it's ever been, ever. I mean, back in 27, they were like 8 million people. So, I mean, it's a huge number of people.
It's not
still
losing popularity, at least for people who want to go out to see the game. But I think TV ratings might be a little different story, right?
Correct. And that's part of the issue that I think Everything Old is New again this week. We need to take it upon our shoulders. We have the knowledge. We have the technology.
We have the connections.
We have the connections.
Oh, we don't have the connections.
Well, we will eventually,
yeah.
if we live long enough.
Right.
And we're gaining people one at a time, one little follower at a time on Facebook.
One follower every 6 months.
Exactly.
And building on that.
But we're going to take all of that and devote ourselves to trying to find the panacea. That's a good word. I like that word. The panacea.
I think I had that last night. A little fried with a little butter. It's delicious.
God bless you, I was going to say. For Major League Baseball's return to greatness. Is that even possible? And by the way, if so, are you listening, Commissioner Rob Manfred? Do you even know, by the way, that that's the Commissioner of Baseball? Isn't that a problem?
It is a big problem. You're right. I had to think about that for a minute. Yeah.
He's so under the radar.
By the way, he's not listening.
So we can say whatever we want to him? I will say this to you. I am going to take this show, the recording of this show, and send it to him. Because we're going to try to solve... We've solved the Kennedy mystery. We talk about UFOs all the time. We did. Yeah, we did that.
Must have forgotten that
Oh, yeah.
show.
You don't remember that show? We solved, remember Amelia Earhart? We solved that problem.
Oh, right.
Where she was and so forth and Cyan. We did all of that.
Yeah. She came in to the show when we found her. She was nice enough to.
Well, that was the ghost lady. Remember we did a book about the ghosts, Carrie Ann.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, and the ghosts of Long Island. So
Yes,
it wasn't
and
really her. He was here in spirit.
Her spirit was here.
But
exactly.
I want to just say that
We've had a good track record.
We have a good track record. It's time for us to solve the baseball problem, if
Yes.
you will. And so I just want to take a look at it in the beginning first. When we grew up, and I know this is these old farts, this is talking about, the old back in the day, but back in the day, in the 60s and before, of course, this is...
In the 70s and the 80s, we're
right,
not that
this
old.
is owning our experience.
Yes.
Certainly it was even more popular, I think, rating-wise, culture-wise,
before our time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It wasn't before television. The radio ratings of baseball. They saw how many newspapers did Babe Ruth and the Yankees sell back in the day. All of that stuff. The Cardinals must have sold newspapers like crazy. So we need to take a look at just a little bit of what it was like in the 60s and 70s for us with respect to baseball. I remember, first of all and foremost, and I know we can't do this now, but as a kid, going to the park, the ballpark, I'm going to call it that, the park in our neighborhood. We live in a suburban area, and every day, or every day during the summer, or Saturdays when it was sort of still schools around, and going out there on our bicycles, and parents saying, "Leave us alone, come back at 4 or 5 when the street lights come on, if you will, or whatever particular time." And we played baseball. We rode into the deli and got a sandwich or whatever. Came back and played more baseball. We played baseball. I would say in a week's time, let's call it 5 days a week, we played probably 50 hours of baseball, maybe 40 hours of baseball. Kids aren't doing that these days.
No, they're not even going outside.
So if you're not experiencing the game hands-on, without mom and dad there going to the Little League, which is fine, but to us that was like gravy. It was like, oh yeah, I got a Little League game. That was okay. That was a weekend thing.
Yeah,
with
that
your
was cool
parents.
because you got to put on an actual uniform. It was organized. It was kind of cool.
But was it as fun even as with your buddies?
No
way. And we would go out to the park and we would play. Even when we would play fungo, no pitcher. You fungo, if you know what that is,
for hours.
You would throw the ball up and to yourself and hit it.
Yep.
And then you'd also do something like second is first, so you could only use the left side of the infield, the left side of the ballpark if you're a righty. And if you hit a ground ball by fungo, the third base or whoever picked it up threw to second before you got to first, you were out. So you could only play if you only had 5-on-5. You still could play,
even 1-on-1. You ever play?
Yes.
We had a game where you threw each other ground balls, and the other guy would pick it up and throw back to you as the first baseman. And if there was an error or it got by you, that was a single, and you actually had a simulated game based on throwing ground balls to each other.
Right. Yes, but another way, pitcher catcher. I'm the pitcher. I'm throwing to you the catcher. You're the umpire. If I throw 3 strikes, or when I throw three strikes before 4 balls, that's an out. Keep doing that till you get 3 outs. If you walked people and the runs came in, that was it. And you would switch with the other guy once you got 3 outs. You would try different pitches. So it was I'm trying to say it was in your life.
Yeah.
It's not in our kids' lives.
No. And you could probably, a younger generation would listen to this, if they are listening to this, and say, wow, you guys must have been really bored back then. But you know what? It wasn't about being bored. It was about, that's all we knew. And you had to be creative and come up with ways to play and use your imagination. And baseball was a good platform to use your imagination.
And you play with your buddies. And you had time in between pitches. You had time in between innings, whatever it was, to play with to talk to your buddies, to kind of goof on them a little bit. You got to know people. We're not talking about, I don't know how to put it down, but not on some social media. Give me a break. We knew statistics. We knew the stars of almost every team. You could tell me any team, and I'd tell you at least 2 or 3 people on every single team.
Right.
You knew the players.
Now you know the guys on your fantasy team, and that's basically it.
You would listen. There were day games you would go with your dad, even during the week, but especially on the weekends, or mom, whatever, family, to a day game on a Saturday or a Sunday. You go to a double header. You would have a baseball glove. You go early. You'd have the have your baseball glove signed, or even if you didn't have it signed, when you bought it in, I guess you'd say Dick's now or whatever, but in the local store, you would have a signature on it already.
Right, sure.
Imitation signature. And everyone wanted to know, who do you have? You got Cheetah's glove. Oh, you got, Mickey Mantle's glove, whatever. And you imagine that was the exact same glove that Mickey Mantle used. You had the baseball hats. You put the baseball hats a certain way. Some guys creased it in the middle. Some guys rounded it off. Some guys wore them backwards. Just saying, it was in. You use baseball cards in the spokes of your bicycle.
Oh, baseball cards are so huge.
Flipping baseball cards.
Yeah.
You knew statistics of almost every player. You looked at the baseball cards.
Right.
You knew the backs. You knew, generally speaking, what these guys were doing every year.
Yep.
Kids aren't doing that.
No.
None of that exists. So we'll get back to it with some solutions.
Because they don't know. The kids today, they don't know.
Well, how about your mother says go garden, go pick the weeds, go cut the grass. The radio went with you. You turned the radio on and you listened to the ball game.
That's
you loved
true.
it. It was
That's
your buddy.
true. Right.
Those announcers. I learned baseball from Ralph Kiner, Lindsey Nelson, and Bob Murphy, and Phil Rizzuto.
The New York
for the Yankees.
and New
that was
York
the Mets.
Yankee announcers.
That's how I learned baseball.
Yep.
Because you listened, you watched the games.
Exactly.
Listen, you loved it. All right, well, we'll be back to try to present you with some solutions to the issue of Major League Baseball. Are you listening? Everything old is good. Oh! Everything old is new again.
I'm ready to play today. Look at me.
You're listening to Everything Old is New Again, America's entertainment pop culture talk show with Douglas Viviani and David Cohen.
Well, that's baseball, and it's my game. You know, you take your worries to the park and you leave them there. You yell like crazy for your guys. Good for your lungs. Gives you a lift and nobody calls the cops. Pretty girls, lots of them. And a hot dog at the game beats roast beef at the Ritz.
How could you not want to go see a baseball game if the Humphrey Bogart presents that to you?
A lot of pretty girls. What did he say? A lot of girls and a lot of them.
Lots of
pretty
them.
girls and
Well,
lots of them.
which would carry the day for you here on Everything Old is New Again? We're talking about baseball and the panacea of baseball. We're going to solve baseball's problems. Talking fast because there's a lot to do. But first, I want to ask from David Cohen, from that presentation of Humphrey Bogart, which is more attractive, the hot dogs, lots of, or pretty girls, lots of them?
I think the steaks. From wherever he said. That sounded good.
Oh, yeah.
Better than
yeah.
hot dogs for me. Sorry.
A hot dog at the stadium is like filet mignon at the Ritz.
I'll take the filet at the Ritz.
But you're not at the Ritz.
All right, if I'm at a stadium, yeah, I'm not going to order that. Well, these days, hey, you can get a steak at stadium.
Pretty girls, lots of them. Doesn't carry the day. The hot dog does.
I'm going to stay away from that subject.
We're two married men. I guess we can't.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not politically correct anymore for our
It's not even
listeners.
politically. It's not even socially correct because we're
It's not-
married.
that's
and the wives are going to kind of
a better way
say
to
word
say
or
it,
two.
yes.
Listen, here's what. Not that we're afraid of the wife. Now, here's the thing.
Not at all.
Not that there's anything wrong with that. All right, listen. I'm going to make a suggestion to fix baseball now. We've talked a little bit about what
Go.
baseball was like.
And action.
Here we go. I know it's a small thing. When you go to the ballpark, I don't want to hear any noise. I don't want to hear this rock and roll to dance to hip hop. I don't want to hear any of this.
So the sound system you have a problem with.
It's not the sound system. It sounds good. It sounds too good. It's very loud. It puts me on edge. I can't talk to my whoever I'm with. I'm listening to nonsense when Derek Jeter gets off the bat or whoever. I got to hear their theme song. We're watching baseball, by the way, in a park. Do you know what a park is? It's a park with butterflies and bees and grass and baseball. That's why we're out of it. I don't want to hear all this. And by the way, don't tell me when to clap. It's on the scoreboard. It tells you when to clap with big hands telling you when to clap. I know what to. I'm at a park. I'm telling you, this takes away from the experience. Am I wrong?
I completely agree with you. However, can I just say something to your
I hope so. You're
not
supposed
a counterpoint,
to say something.
but the thing about baseball, and here's the problem, I think, to sum up baseball. Baseball used to be a timeless right. There's no clock, and it used to sort of parallel the pace of life, or a slower pace of life. Like the pace of a baseball game is the pace that you live your everyday life. Living our everyday lives is not what it used to be. It's much quicker. It's much more screen focused and little short bursts of information.
I agree. 100%.
Baseball is not like that.
You mean to tell me that you're happier with this fast-paced nonsense? Can't you slow down for an hour or two, and I'll get to the game time because that's part of the problem. Can't you slow down for even television for an hour to watch end of a game or 2 hours, or to go to a ballpark for 2 hours to slow it down?
Well, you and I can because we're collectively like 150 years old. But no, I think for a lot of people, especially younger people like our kids, it's really tough to slow down
agree.
like that.
I
It's
agree.
not. They're not used to it.
Because they're not shown how to live a life that has simplicity in it once in a
That's
while.
what's the matter with
Well, I'm
kids
telling
today.
you, but if you want to go that way, all right, I'll jump on that. With respect to technology, one of the most fun things to do at a ballpark, and I know it sounds not so much fun, but we'll translate that, You go to the ballpark. What's the first thing you're hit with besides people trying to sell you food or beer? What is the guy at the booth when you're on the way into the stadium? What are they selling to you?
Programs
and
yearbooks
and
paraphernalia,
scorecards.
Well, yeah, well that's in your
correct,
yeah.
but okay,
program
we're
program
on.
score right.
That is so much fun. It gets you to interact with the game because you know the stats yourself.
You know what?
You know what
first
the guys
of all, I don't see those. Do you see those guys anymore? Now that you bring it up, I don't see them.
That's a good question. That's
a
good question.
It used to be, yeah. The first guy you saw selling the scorebook.
So here's what I suggest. You don't want to do it in writing, that's
now
fine.
You got me riled up.
I'm telling you, because they've lost so much, and that's why they keep eliminating things and it's ruining the game experience. And you don't have an experience in your life that you can play the game. We talked about that last section. And if it's not part of your life that way, and it's not part of your life observing it with dad or mom, family members, friends, sitting in the ballpark and talking baseball. Let's not talk about other nonsense and songs and whatever. We're talking baseball. To understand the intricacies of the game, get an app on the phone, and I think they start to have this now, where you can keep score on your phone. You want to watch the phone all the time? Keep score at the ballpark on the phone.
That's a good idea.
And by the way, have some contests where you're at whatever stadium. They go, okay, did anyone get a good picture of that slide at home? Let's just say, right? If you got it in between innings, send it to blah, blah, blah number. We will pick one, and you will win, and we'll put it on the scoreboard, and you will win a hot dog or whatever it might be. Interact with the game. How about some trivia? Not trivia. You can do trivia a little bit, but what you can do is, like you were saying off the air, how about what's going to happen here? Are they going to hit and run? Are they going to swing away?
Like an audience poll.
Yeah.
Right.
Communicate social media throughout the stadium. People that are at the stadium, maybe have a poll, have the Yankees or whatever team it is, send out an app that you can participate in and have the universal social media experience while you're at the ballpark or at home. How about you interact with people that are at the ballpark? Did you see that? You're sitting behind first. I'm sitting behind first base. Here's my angle of what just happened there. Whatever it might be. You can get people to interact with this game and have a lot of fun. They're not doing a thing with social media.
No, they're really not. You're right.
Apps.
They're really not. That's a huge opportunity they could take care of. Now, but the other side of the coin, though, Doug, is aren't you detracting still from your, perfect experience of being in a park?
Well, I'm realizing
by having people looking at their screens.
Well, but I can't fight that. I can't even fight that when they're walking down the street and bumping into each other in New York City or wherever. You know what I mean? Like, people are going to, for some reason, we can't get away from this stinking telephones. I can't wait to put it away at the end of the day. I don't want to deal with this nonsense. But, okay, you want to get involved with it. Sooner or later, I think we're going to OD as a civilization. Just say, all right, it's enough. It's a tool. It's important. It's okay. But I'm not going to live my life with it. But we've got young kids that are hooked on it and so forth. That's fine. We'll get there. That's a whole other issue, but let's play into it. Let's make baseball part of that experience. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that's wonderful. Maybe they'll love that. I have no problem with that. So let's get involved with it. But part of that is reducing the time of the game. I used to watch Tom Seaver pitch for the Mets in 2 hours and 10 minutes. Forget that he pitched the full game. That's a whole different issue. 2 hours and 10 minutes. That's not so bad.
No.
4 hours? Are you kidding me?
Who has that kind of time?
To watch a guy fix his equipment, to listen to this crappy music. I'm sorry, this music in between innings. Listen to this music when every player gets up. They got to get in the box, step out of the box, get in the box, fix the gloves, fix the hat, fix their behind. It's enough.
Fix their behind.
They do.
Listen,
It's scratching all over the place. It's. Come on.
Why don't we slow the game down to a point where the players are tweeting during the game to the fans? Why not?
Should I swing at this pitch?
Yeah, exactly.
No, yes.
Take an audience poll. That's perfect. Yeah, 90% of the fans said you should swing on the next
Or maybe
pitch.
we could send a little note to the catcher. Everyone dial 1 to the catcher for fastball, 2 to curve, and have the catcher actually call whatever's the majority.
That's beautiful.
one.
Let the fans call the pitches. That's perfect.
I mean, actually, it's not such a bad
perfect.
idea.
Yeah.
But all right. So, but the point, you get my ideas.
Yes.
You got to come on.
They need to do something because right now, all these ideas that you're bringing up right now, what they're moving toward that, they've done nothing. Nothing towards
Correct.
it at all.
And by the way, I know you have to have commercials, so that extends the game. Okay, I understand. When you're changing pitchers and stuff, limit it. The guy's in the bullpen 100 minutes. He doesn't need to pitch so many pitches before he gets in there. 2 pitches, that's it. Let's go. Get in the batter's box. You're allowed to get out of the batter's box twice or something like that. That's it. Get in the bat. You didn't see Babe. Go back to the film. You didn't see Willie Mays go in and out of that box. You know what Hank Aaron did? He planted himself in that box, and that ball came in, and he swung. And if he missed, he stayed in that box. He fixed his helmet for a minute. You could watch him do that. I'm telling
you watch,
and he stayed in the box.
If you follow the Yankees or you see him on national TV, you watch Giancarlo Stanton. He does that. He's a throwback. And it's weird because it catches your eye. He plants himself in the box and he doesn't move.
Right.
And you're like, something's weird going on with this batter.
And this pitcher is like freaked out. He's like, what am I doing here? What? Just throw the ball, please. Please. I mean, give me a break. Am I wrong? I got to see all these finagling. Anyway, next thing. We have to have a national game of the week with a national announcer that's well known or two, so that when you're watching the game,
don't they have that though?
During the day on a Saturday, the kids can watch. No, I want a national game. It's not regional. I want the national game. One game that's on at 1 o'clock.
Like fans on the West Coast will see the Angels and the Dodgers.
No,
and fans
I want
on the East
these
Coast.
kids to experience what we did. Even though you could get any game you want these days on whatever, if you have enough stations that you buy on cable or whatever, or MLB baseball, whatever. No, sit down and watch like the old school Joe Garagiola and Tony Kubek. Your national announcers. Finally, this week, my team is on there. I want to hear these announcers, what they have to say about my players and my team. By the way, the next week, it's the Minnesota Twins. I haven't seen them all year long. They got a couple players I want to see about, which we'll talk about, the recognition of the players. That's different. But they got a couple players. I want to see them play the Cincinnati Reds. This is an interleague game. I've never seen these two teams play before. Let me hear these same announcers,
I'm not sure I totally agree with you because, and it's just my personal opinion, if it's not the Yankees, it's not my favorite team playing, I have no interest in watching baseball.
That's your problem. That is a serious problem, and that's why...
That's a problem?
It is a problem. That's why baseball is where it is today. Am I wrong or am I right?
I don't know. You're looking around the studio at something. You're not focusing on me, so I don't know.
I have to get out and get this clip going. All right, we'll be back right after this. And everything old is new again. We'll find more solutions to baseball's ilks, if you will. There we go. What happened to this game? We don't see this? 4 games a year they do?
You're listening to Everything Old is New Again, America's entertainment pop culture talk show with Douglas Viviani and David Cohen.
On the corner, the national pastime went on trial. Talking baseball. Klazuski, Campanella, talking baseball. The man and Bobby Fella, the Scooter, the Barber, and the Nuke. They knew them all from Boston to Dubuque. Especially Willie, Mickey, and the Duke.
All right, we're back and everything old is new again, talking about baseball and getting to the panacea of baseball. Listen to that song. That man had such a reveration, if that's the word. He revered baseball and those players so much that he wrote this classic song to include all of his heroes of the day.
Yeah, he's a great guy. What do you think that, I don't care. But what do you think of this song today would sound like? It would be quite different.
It would be quite different.
Different.
I have to think about that. We could come up with one. It would not be as
and it would
wonderful.
It would be all about current players
and all about
as
home runs, by the way.
And home runs,
so
right?
It would be.
Yeah.
So and so hit a home run. That's
but why aren't they doing that? Why don't they have? I'm sounding like you.
Yes.
Let me take a breath. No, shouldn't they be coming out with a popular song for baseball that resonates with fans, even non-fans that might take it? Can't you get Jay-Z or Kanye or somebody popular
right.
that I might not necessarily like because I don't like either of those two guys, but somebody that resonates with the kids these days,
of course. But no, they won't do it because it's not in the America. It's not in the Panacea. Oh, I'm saying the Panacea. I love that word. It's not in America's. It's not in America's mindset these days as it used to be. Now let me just I want to complete my thought. I know you haven't thought about this, but just listen to this game of the week.
Is on the march. 6th inning, second game. Looked like the last time at bat, base hit. So his streak is alive. History is being written. And we asked his biggest fan about all the excitement.
My name's Pete Rose Jr. and I hope my dad beats Joe DiMaggio's record.
Joe DiMaggio's record, he said there. It's hard to understand that.
Yeah.
The kids,
that was Pete Rose's kid.
Yes, and the kids were, they were talking
by the way, he
kids.
had like $50 in that game, too.
The kid.
Yeah.
Pete Rose had 150. No, but the idea is that was game of the week. And I know you may not, this day and age, you can get any game you want, and you're saying you're regional. It's the problem. America needs a national pastime, and the pastime has to be national-based. In other words, what I'm trying to say is one day a week we can have one one game that's on national TV that kids can get excited about. We'll talk about announcers in this section, but because announcers they respect and know, and their team, which may be in fourth place, but they're on Game of the Week, and they don't even get a chance to see them, let's say, against some other rival, even interleague play, whatever it might be, and don't get a chance to see those players. Let me see what these announcers have to say about my team and so forth. You know, it's a little fresh air from hearing your old regional announcer to hear a national announcer talk about your team all game long.
Yeah, no, that was definitely an exciting part of it to hear, right? Because your regional announcers, at least back in the day, and I think it's still true today, they're homers.
Right,
they're going to say nice things.
Right, you
want
to hear something honest, if you will, about your players of your team.
Right.
But do you think it's a good idea or a bad idea?
I guess it's a good. I don't think that's the solution. It's a good idea.
These are all little things. I'm not saying anyone's wannabe is the solution. They tried that with Sunday Night Baseball. Little something here.
As our national pastimes game of the week.
They do have that.
This
not anymore.
ESPN Sunday
this was the heyday. John Miller, Joe Morgan. Let's listen to it.
New York will always be known as the city that doesn't sleep. But when the Red Sox come to town, that all changes. The eye-popping, pulse-pounding pace of the day gets put on hold because the only thing that matters is beating Boston.
I play that because we'll talk about Sunday Night Baseball in a minute, but look at the way they set the game up. They picked a game that has a rivalry or a story with Pete Rose, going for the DiMaggio, and that was, you can pick one game out of all the games that Saturday, and there's a story, and they set up the story like a drama, like a movie. They don't do that in your regional game. You don't do that in your local game. Now you're doing it on national once a week at least. You've got a nice feel for this. Your team, once a year maybe, is part of a storyline that in theory the whole nation is watching. Does that make sense?
It makes sense, but again, I think it's a small step. I think
absolutely,
but
let's do the small steps. Let's do these little things.
You've already spent like 15 minutes of the show on a national. That's not the solution. It's a step in the right direction.
Here's the problem: Sunday Night Baseball. I don't want night baseball. I want it during the day. Sunday Night Baseball.
Okay, well,
do you know the announcers? Tell me who the announcers are. Sunday Night Baseball. Tell me who they are. Okay, you got A-Rod, who's a novice at best.
A-Rod.
Okay,
yeah.
He's okay. You got some guy Matt Vaserzian. You got
he's not bad, but no. But
nobody knows who he is. Jessica Mendoza. You know who Jessica Mendoza is?
Nobody knows who
Buster
you are
Olney. You ever know who Buster Olney is?
Everybody knows who Buster Olney is.
Wait,
you're a baseball fan.
Magician? Who's Buster Olney? Buster Olney and Jessica Mendoza are going to be performing on the Norwegian cruise tonight. Go to after dinner. They're going to be on the show. They're going to be spinning plates on the pole. I mean, I don't know who these people are. I want national announcers.
Did you take your medication before we went on the air?
No, I didn't.
Got to remember that, man.
Now we'll move on. Talk about announcers. All right, I want to just listen to a little piece, and these are small clips. You know this. That excitement that the 1951 Giants win the playoff against the Dodgers. Did you hear that announcer? Do you hear that these days?
No.
And that's a local announcer.
Yeah.
You don't hear any of that.
No.
Now, let me just go through this. I have to go through quick. I should have made 2 shows out of this, honestly, because there's so much to do. But let's go listen to a little bit of Vin Scully and Jack Buck, 2 sides of the coin of Kirk Gibson's 1988 World Series home run. Listen to the way it's announced.
And with 2 out, you talk about a roll of the dice. This is it. High fly ball into right field. She is gone! In a year that has been so improbable, the impossible has happened.
Gibson swings and a fly ball to deep right field. This is going to be a home run. Unbelievable! A home run for Gibson. And the Dodgers have won the game 5-4. I don't believe what I just saw.
Now, at least one of those 2 calls you've heard.
Yes.
And remember.
Yes.
From 1988.
Right.
Why?
Well, the excitement, the
presentation, the word picture that those 2 classic announcers presented about the same call. I thought it was very interesting. Both are memorable. Both are national announcers or announcers that need to be promoted now and with some longevity is with teams and so forth, and advertised as part of the game. We've lost that. These these announcers are part of the game that are making our game come alive to us, whether it's on the TV or the radio. Now, let me just listen to, I'm going quick here, but I'm getting to a point. Here is the point of the whole thing I'm making in this section. Is Ernie Harwell, when he said goodbye after 30 years of announcing the Detroit Tigers, he used to paint a great word picture every season, every game. Listen to how he announces and talks about radio and what radio is to him and to baseball.
And rather than goodbye, please allow me to say thank you. Thank you for letting me be part of your family. Thank you for taking me with you to that cottage up north, to the beach, the picnic, your workplace, and your backyard. Thank you for sneaking your transistor under the pillow as you grew up loving the Tigers. Now, I might have been a small part of your life, but you've been a very large part of mine, and it's my privilege and honor to share with you the greatest game of all.
I don't know. It's touching to me.
Sure.
You could hear that. In my fantasy, in my different world, if I lived in a counterpart, we talked about counterpart in another show, and that TV show, the Stars TV show, if I had another counterpart, I would want to almost live as a Detroit Tiger fan in Michigan to hear that guy announce.
Yeah.
He was tremendous. And not soon forgotten. That was 2002. My point is, look at how he talks about radio and slipping the. Did you do that at nighttime? You'd slip the radio on the. You can do that these days. You can listen to ball games on MLB.com on the radio when you're going to sleep. It's to a West Coast game, whatever it might be. As a little kid, kids aren't doing it. They need, I think, and I know we're in radio, but they need to promote radio more. Radio is a huge part of baseball. You can go on a trip with your family. I remember doing it in a car for the summertime, traveling to Wally World or wherever. Throw the ball game on, different cities as you go along. Listen to the game. It's a pastime. It's in your background. You don't have to pay attention to it 100% of the time, but it gives you a feel. You know what's going on in the game. It's your buddy. It's your friend. It's lending itself to giving you, as a feeling, as a fan, some sense that I own and appreciate that game and the person that is announcing that game. Tell me what you think. Am I crazy?
No, you're not crazy. It's a very intimate part. I mean, even, your point about radio is well taken, because there's a lot of skill in recreating the game so that in your mind you can kind of see what's happening on the field. But as far as the familiarity, you can be a great radio announcer, but even TV, right? You put on the game every night, your home team, and you listen to the announcers. You might love them, you might hate them, but they do become part of your life. And you hearing their voice just stirs something in you, right? That, it's like time traveling. I'm watching the Indians, or I'm watching the Twins, and hear my guys talking about it. I feel like everything's right with the world.
Yeah, we'll be back right at this. Everything goes.
Suppose you walk into a baseball field.
Yeah.
What teams are playing?
I don't know.
Then what are you doing in that baseball field?
I don't know. You got me in here, now get me out.
This is Everything Old is New Again, America's entertainment pop culture talk show with Douglas Viviani and David Cohen.
You know, one of the best things about being an ex-big leaguer is getting freebies to the game. Call the front office, bingo. Good seats, huh?
You're in the wrong seat, buddy. Come on.
Oh, I must be in the front row.
Come on.
There we go. Light beer for a Miller commercial. Back in the day, this is Everything Old is New Again with David Cohen, Douglas Viviani, and we're going through the panacea, the different things that baseball can do to survive this world and move back into the national pastime, or at least increase the TV ratings and build a future for this game. David?
Yes, agreed.
And that was Bob Uecker back in the day, hysterical. Everyone, if you were in the 80s, you remember, it looks like it was in the front row, and of course he was way up top. He had the wrong seats, but it was just showed a little fun. I'm trying to say that now we've gone through the announcers, we've gone through radio, we've gone through Game of the Week, speeding the game up a little bit, getting kids involved at the ballpark with with maybe some apps and so forth, keeping score. So I mean, that's where we're at there. But how? You tell me, when you were growing up, did you think baseball was fun? Was a job? Was in between? What was why did you watch it so much?
Oh, because I couldn't believe these guys were playing this kids game, and they were really good at it. Better than I was,
right?
And it was fun, and they had all the uniforms, and They were heroes, and it was great.
And the statistics, you wanted to
the
see
stats
someone
were a
going
big part.
to beat Babe Ruth's record or whatever it might be, and the stories, the reverence that you had.
Well,
the history.
stats have just run amok with the game now. It's all about numbers, and I think that's a little bit of the reason why people are not interested.
Too many
anymore.
stats. You know what you need for stats for a baseball player, for a hitter?
Oh, don't tell me batting average and home runs and all that.
Why not? That's all you need. Batting average, run scores, home runs, and RBIs.
Because it's not all you need anymore.
I don't want to hear anymore.
Because the game's changed.
We don't need all the other nonsense.
You do if you want a competitive team. Yeah.
No, I'm talking about it as a fan. You don't need to know the OPS and memorize they've become football. There's too many obsolete, nonsensical, obscure statistics. You don't need that nonsense. You need basics.
Is this leading us into
the fun? You took me off the topic.
Oh, well, yeah. I think we left the fun a long time ago. But no, are we going now into like how to make the game itself better? Is this where it would? No,
the game experience.
Is that the next section?
No, but the game experience, not for the players, but for the person that's watching and wants to participate in it. We need Bob Uecker, just saying as a personality, we need some personalities that make this a fun experience to watch and enjoy the game.
There's no more like Harry Carey's or Phil Rizzuto's, or who's the closest to that now? If you watch the Yankee games, is Paul O'Neill, former Yankee in Cincinnati. He's the guy now that comes on and sort of plays the buffoonish kind of the funny guy with the funny. That's what's missing, I think, from a lot of broadcasts.
It's been whitewashed. I mean, you listen to one across the nation, which you have the chance to do now. If you want to go to MLB.com, you pay like $4.95 a month, and you can get any broadcast on the radio of any game at all, anywhere, and there's so many of them, if not all of them, are whitewashed. You can't tell one from the next.
Right.
Where is the personality? What happened to the personality? How about the players? There's no personality on players. How about this guy? Remember this guy? I don't know if you will. Let me see if you put this together here.
We got the set-in, sunshine, fresh air. We got the team behind us, so let's play two.
Wasn't exactly said in such vivance, but that is Ernie Banks. Back in the day, he used to say that all the time on the field and interviews with he's older there. That was his acceptance speech at Cooperstown. But let's play. He was a personality. People loved Ernie Banks, the personality. Right. Reggie Jackson, you loved to hate that guy, but everyone was talking about Reggie Jackson or Jackson versus Munson. Everyone was talking about the feud in the Bronx Zoo. Everyone was talking about Mark Fidrich when this guy came around, right?
Talking to the baseball,
tremendous pitching beautifully before he hurt his arm. Bo Jackson striking out and breaking the bat over his knee. You remember that? Al Habrowski used to pitch like a mad Hungarian. He would pitch and he'd actually face his players and get pumped up and yell, "Let's go, guys!" And he'd grab that ball and push it into the glove and turn around and come out at you. What do you get now?
Now you got that Houston Astros reliever who punched himself in the face after he was taken out of the game, and who recently dropped an F-bomb to his manager after his manager pulled him from the game, and he's since been sent down to the minor leagues.
There's the personality.
That's the personality you're dealing with now.
Well, this is the problem, baseball. Promote these guys that are a lot of fun. What about
if you're going to punch yourself in the face, knock yourself out at least, right? Like pass out on the field. Let's go for the full drama.
All right. How about some of back to the announcers? You mentioned Harry Carey. Remember this?
This is the last time this year.
Think about it. You're at the ballpark hearing this.
Let me hear you.
From the booth.
And loud. All right, Gary. 0-1. 0-2. 0-3. Hey. Out to
as he spills beer all over the guy and sitting below the booth,
I could tell there's Harry Carey. Remember Jim Carrey doing the impersonations of Harry Carey?
No, it was Will Ferrell.
Oh, Will Ferrell. Right.
Whoa,
Harry Carey here.
But what? Now, those, listen, think about it. Those Chicago Cub fans have been rabid baseball fans since they last won in 1908, and part of that was this experience at that ballpark with this guy announcing, and the fun of it, the experience of just enjoying a day at the ballpark or listening to it. How about I got a little something for your buddy.
Well, hi everybody, welcome to New York Yankee Baseball. I'm Bill. Wait a minute. A drive to deep left center, and that ball is out of here. No, it's not. Yes, it is. No? What happened? He caught it? You got to be kidding. I know I got to get these glasses changed. He hits one deep to right center. That ball is out of here. The Yankees win the pennant. Holy cow, Chris Chambliss on one swing. Unbelievable. What a finish. As dramatic a finish as you'd ever want to see.
Of course, that's Phil Rizzuto. He could be a goofball calling himself the wrong name in the beginning. There's broadcast partners Bill White. He was calling himself that. Of course, making a little bit of a wrong call on a home run. But then he was serious. They had a classic call on the 76 season when Chambliss hit the home run against the Kansas City Royals, and they made it to the World Series for the first time in a long time.
He also called Maris's home run that broke Mandel's record.
Absolutely.
That was a really great call of that.
Absolutely. I was going to go side by side. They had, who announced that? Vince Scully did one. Was it Vince? I forget. It was another major announcer that was very bland, and he came alive with it. So what I'm trying to say is that these guys are fun. They could laugh at themselves. They can have some fun in the booth. They were regular guys.
They can also laugh. The other thing is that's lost these days is they could laugh at the mistakes that they made instead of either A, pretending they didn't say something wrong, which happens a lot, or B, excusing themselves and being real serious about why they said it the wrong way instead of just saying, "Oh man, I screwed up."
Right? Look what he did. We had so much fun laughing 30 years later at Rizzuto's mistake on a home run call.
Right.
Everyone. Now, I don't. Maybe I don't know. I might be out of my mind. I remember going to barbecues to times where they're playing baseball with the kids with wiffle ball or going in the pool, and these games were on in the background, and you're hearing Rizzuto or you're hearing other announcers or the game of the week, whatever it might be, but especially Rizzuto and those guys, you would feel at home. You'd listen, and if you'd laugh, and everybody would be talking about it. This announcer, and it was part of the world, and we have whitewashed it so much that you could turn on any game and I will almost guarantee you would have a tough time smiling and laughing through the game.
So here's the thing. We don't have a lot of time left, right? So you were talking off the air about how we should have done 2 shows about this because we try to pack too much into one.
Right.
I think we should have another show that talks about other possible solutions, and beyond what we discussed already.
Yes.
So in other words, specifically about what can be changed to the game itself to make it more watchable, to have fans tune in more. Right?
I'd be happy to do that.
Let's do it.
And let's also think about...
and we'd love to hear from our listeners, too, for suggestions to how to make baseball great again.
We'll send this off to the commissioner. You can communicate with us at oldnewagain at AOL.com, oldnewagain at AOL.com. Here's a little piece of Brockmire. It's a little show on, what channel is it on? IFC. If you can get a chance, Hank Azaria, listen to this. It's just a little bit of a kick on what's going on from the entertainment standpoint of baseball.
And that ball is well hit to deep right center field. That one is gone but not forgotten. Oh, you can stick me in some kind of Italian boat because that one is gondola. Little popper to the left side. Newman settles under it, and Lucy puts supper on the stove, my dear, because this ball game is over.
And he's just trying to capture the Rizzuto kind of a thing, and I'm sure there's tons of old time announcers that did all of those things. Where is that?
Yeah.
Come on, man. Stop whitewashing this. Make it fun to listen to the game, and you'll get more people interested in the game. And we'll, again, talk about more things that can be done here on Everything Old is New Again. Write to us. We'll get some feedback on what we've said here. We can do it. Baseball can become a better experience.
I'll promise you, if you write to us and give us a suggestion, we will air it.
Yes, absolutely, 100%. Unless there's more than 10.
Unless we disagree with it. No, definitely. We'll
we'll do it. So communicate with us on everythingoldisnewagain.biz.
There's more than... Yeah, we'll never get
We don't
10.
have much time. I can barely get you to talk. I'm talking too much here. All right, we'll be back next week to continue Everything Old is New Again, the America's pop culture talk show right here on your favorite radio station.